Hey, good morning everybody. Well, here we are. We've got our frame done. However, we told you we're going to walk you through step by step how to basically build this. All I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse engineer that which I've put together. The way that I came up with the idea to build this, first of all, is go online and always look at reference, okay? That will be the first place to start. There's a lot of incredible furniture builders out there, and no doubt I've got some in this group. So go out, look at other people's ideas. See if there's something that sparks your fancy. Now, for the sake of the base that's going to go under the table, we went online. I know you can't see it, but I printed out, basically, this is our old kitchen table. I wanted to see exactly how they had built their base. So I went out and I printed out a reference photo. Nothing more, nothing less. It's not my image. I'm using it strictly as reference to build my base. The other thing that I can definitely recommend, and we're going to be doing this in Camtasia with a little bit of screen capture, is how did we even come up with the dimensions for this base in the first place? Well, this I know you definitely can't see, but we ended up imposing the top as though it was going to be over the top of the base. And we ended up designing a box inside our oval kitchen tabletop, excuse me. It's early, I haven't had enough coffee. And I ended up working a box with inside my kitchen tabletop oval. And then we put some rounds in to simulate where our log tops were. And I worked it. Now we are going to show you in screen capture how it is we actually came up with that. And basically I'm looking at 20 inches wide by 28 inches in length. So we will give you how it is we did that in Camtasia though.
Alright, good afternoon everybody. Well, real quick, we told you how we were going to show you how we came up with the dimensions for the base that goes under our CNC engraved kitchen table. In the download package file, you have the exact same measurement file that we're getting ready to open. We're going to open an existing file. We're going into the folder that says Table with Measurements. This is in fact a VCarve Pro CRV file. We're going to open this up. This is marked up with the measurements. Now, we look at our outer border, and we come down to Transform Objects. It is the 48 by 36 kitchen tabletop that we see. Let's close this out. How did I make my interior here? Well, what I did was I took this box. This box can be just about any box. Let's highlight this stuff. And let's take the centers out. Let me get that completely out. Now, starting with a fresh box, let's come in here to create vectors and let's draw a rectangle. I'm going to come down here under my width and let's say 24.0 for my width, and we'll say my height will be 20. We're going to click apply. Now I'm going to close this box out. I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to come over to Transform Objects. We're going to align our objects, and I'm going to align this object to the center. This is basically nothing more than if you were make-believe, if you would, looking down through the top of the table. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is, we told you that the tops of our logs ranged from 3 3/4 to 4 inches. I am going to take the largest. They're going to be 4.0 inches. Make sure we're on diameter and not radius. Click apply. Let's close him out. Let's highlight him and let's zoom him in. I'm going to line up my center node with the corner of that box, which we've just done. Let's highlight that round again. Let's right click and copy. We'll right click and we'll paste. We're going to pull him out. I'm going to drag him over to the other corner. I'm going to get him set on that corner. We're going to copy him. We're going to right click, we're going to paste him, we're going to drag him down to the other corner. Same thing here again. Right click, copy, right click, paste. I'm going to drag him over. Great. Now, we basically have an idea of what he looks like. We know that this is the top, and I know that if I come over here to my measurement tool, I can come in and I can measure. So I'm 3 1/4 inches to the edge of my table. I can put my markups for the box so that I know what my centers will be from center to center. However, I will tell you that while I was building this, I did take this out of what I originally had set it up to, and I ended up building it square at 24 inches by 24 inches instead of 20 by 28. I felt that this would keep the little cedar post a little closer to the interior of the table. I didn't want them too close to the edge, but yet I didn't want anything to wobble and potentially fall over. So that's the reason that we went this way. But in any build that you do, table-wise anyways, this is something to keep in mind to help you lay out a base, whether it's a coffee table, end table, kitchen table. And you can sit here and you can readjust these to whatever you feel may work out best for your situation. And you can come back into your transform objects and you can go, well, maybe I want it something different. And we can make it bigger. Or you can make it smaller. Adjust it for your situation to what best suits your needs.
All I'm going to do is I'm going to basically reverse engineer this. Now this was built with next to nothing for tools. Now I did tell you in this segment we're going to show you how to go out and how to make your tenions without the use of a tenion cutter. All these are, in my opinion, I've told you before, they're a glorified pencil sharpener that you can buy some really cheap ones, or you can buy some more middle of the road like these, or of course they make an industrial grade one which are even well above and beyond, you know, what this shop can afford. If you don't have one of these, we're going to show you how to do this with a hole saw, a hand saw, and a wood chisel. I've done them. They're a stinker. I would much rather go out and buy a tenion. Even a single 2-inch tenion is going to build you beds, kitchen tables, and some furnishings, okay? The other thing you need is you need something to put a hole in which to slide your tenion in, called your mortise, which is basically, this is a big 2-inch self-feeding Milwaukee bit. This is a beast. This thing is a beast. It makes short work of making these big 2-inch holes. It works out good. All I run this in is my my Milwaukee. I've got an electric corded Milwaukee with a 1/2-inch chuck on it. Hey, it's a $50 item though. Okay, this is a spade bit. You can get one of these for under $10 at the hardware store. Get yourself a 2-inch one or whatever size you're making your tenions. Rubber mallet, dead blow hammer. You know, thing sounds like a maraca. I've got an old chisel here, which was one of my favorites until I just busted the handle on it. And I got a 16-ounce ball peen. I don't use anything major to make any of my log furnishings, beds, tables, or anything else. A tape measure, obviously, you need. And if you're going to be working with 4-inch stock, I would definitely suggest a pair of calipers, because now you can go in. You can basically find out what the diameters are on your log, and you can measure. I know that all of these are between 3 3/4 and 4 inches, so I'm not going to have a big diversity with 4 different logs with major differences. Alright, all I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to pop this half of the frame apart. I'm going to set this one aside. I'll let it lean like a little kickstand. This one I'm just going to go lay down on the floor. Now I've already sanded this up. The only thing I'm doing is I'm going to sand it down with just a little DeWalt orbital, nothing major. As I take these apart, and as I sand each piece, I'm going to reverse it, I'm going to put it back together, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this frame first, sand it, we'll get glue in, and we'll probably put a screw in the end. I'll go through with I'll just go through with a drill bit. I'll find the center on my spindle, which will be quite easy. Screw's going to go in from the outside. We're going to hit everything up with a little glue. And if I have to use some clamps, so be it. I have to use some clamps. These, folks, are really nothing to build. Seriously. If you played with Lincoln Logs as a kid, guess what? This is just an adult version of the same thing, in my opinion. Okay? We're gonna sand down our frames. We basically have three. You have each end frame, right and left, and then you got your center, which basically looks like a capital letter I. Once your two end frames are done, you can take your center frame. We'll glue, we'll clamp everything. As we're building, we're going to work it with a level. All right? It really isn't that difficult. The one thing I can say is if you do have an extra set of hands, that comes in handy, because working this stuff alone can be a little bit of a pain in the neck. But we'll get these frames sanded. Alright, hey everybody, well, here, we're back. We've taken our frames. I've sanded everything down. I lay my frame down on the floor. I pop one side off of it. I sand it up, I put it back. I pull the other side off. I sand it up, I lay it back. And then I work on my little spindles, my horizontal spindles. I take them off, I sand them. I don't feel as though I need to make you guys watch that stuff, because to me it chews up time that, you know, I can pretty much explain it to you. Alright, what I do, because I told you, if you ladies and gentlemen, if you've got an extra set of hands, doing this is a lot easier. Now what we're going to do to this frame, I've already done to that one. That one's all set, but I do need to work. We got to kind of expedite things along, because we are dealing with glue. I will use the same glue that I use on most any other project up here. Now, as I told you, this can be built with next to nothing for tools. I don't use high-end stuff up here. This is just a junk throwaway Ryobi. Okay, nothing major. What I'm doing here, I'm going to go into the holes that we drilled to drop the tenyons in. Now, whether you use, whether you use a spade bit, or whether you use this big 2-inch Milwaukee, oh my goodness, be careful with it, the 2-inch boring bit, they both mark a center. All you gotta do is find your center inside from either the spade bit or that big boring bit, and drill it through. I'm gonna do the same thing on the bottom. Okay, that's it, that's done. Now what I use is I do end up screwing. I use a 5-inch screw. These are left over, they are severely overkill. These are 5-inch concrete screws put out by Caliburn. Yeah, concrete screw. 1964 by 5 inches. They're a little bit bigger, but the ones I normally use I'm out of, so I didn't want to hold the video up. Excuse me for 1 minute. We're going to do a reach here and grab some glue. All I'm going to do with the glue, I'm going to put a little bit towards the front, about 3/4 of an inch in. Same thing here, down the bottom. I'm going to flip. In the meantime, try not to take everything out and tip everything over. I'm going to put another little smattering of glue right there. Alright, let me lean my glue bottle up. Yeah, as I'm balancing something on my arm, I got things falling over, oh my goodness. Alright, I'm going to turn him right side back up. I'm going to put him in. Alright, this is just a piece of dunnage that I use to support it. I'm going to put him tight right up against my workbench. I'll pop that bit out real quick. I'm going to grab a couple of our big old 5-inch screws with the torque heads. I don't mind going with these. Some clients, they request that you take a spade bit and you counterbore the outside. You put a little decorative cedar plug in there you can make out of a branch or a limb or something. Or you could just buy a little wooden dowel if you wanted. But this is for me and the missus, so I'm not particularly too concerned over the fact that a screw head shows, because they're not that bad to look at. I'm also not concerned about really reefing them right in, and we'll see why. But again, we've got to work against the clock because we do have glue in here now. And although we have a little bit of time with the wood glue, I still try to work as quickly as I can. Okay, same thing. We're going to spin them around. I'm going to set them down. We can always grab a little rubber mallet if we need. Same thing again. I'll put a little piece of dunnage under him just to hold him. Just get him to stand up. And same thing again. Find the center of that hole. This is a 12-inch bit, 3/16 inch long. It's nothing special. I've used a regular, shorter, standard drill index drill, but I had that big one kicking around, so I figured it would make my life easier. We grab our glue again, little on the bottom, flip him, little on the top. Put them together. Couple pieces of hardware. It really is this simple, folks. And again, if you do have somebody to help you out, that is just awesome, because these can be a pain in the butt without a second set of hands. But you know, you'll learn how to manipulate things in your own shop to help you overcome these little obstacles. Alrighty, we've got both our frames done. This one is extremely, not extremely, but it's racked. So we need to address that. We've got our holes, and actually I need to turn this way. Our holes don't line up. So we can stick the end of our hammer into our tenon hole, and we can rotate and move things that way. We can also look, don't be afraid to grab and twist things a little. When everything's said and done, this will, oh my goodness, I'm sitting here talking and I'm not even in the video. When this is said and done, we'll measure corner to corner, inside to inside, outside to outside, but we have to remember this. When we threw the calipers on these logs earlier, okay, we ended up with anywhere from 3 3/4 to 4 inches in diameter. So everything's going to be out an 1/8 to a 1/16. Your eyes are going to be your best alibi in this, all right? You're going to have to throw an eye down this, because the most important thing, even if your frames are out a little bit, they're not quite level or whatever, maybe even racked a titch, make sure you're seating flat on the ground. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically run a piece of 1x stock, 1 inch thick, 6 inches wide, and then we'll screw from the underside to our tabletop when we get to that point. The middle right now, I'm not so much concerned with getting it perfect. It needs to fit in to hold both frames together and prevent them from moving. That's basically the center's purpose, in my opinion. That's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to basically go through, I'm going to drill out these 4 holes. I'm going to get the center in. We're going to get everything worked. I'll get clamps out, and we'll be back and we'll walk you through exactly what we've done there, okay? Everybody hang on, alright, and we'll be right back. Alright everybody, well here we are. We have got our frame together. As we can see, this thing, it kind of pitches in a little bit like an A-frame. I'm not too concerned about that. For what it is, I've got a little bit of a wobble here. The one thing that we can do is we're going to go back and forth. We're going to loosen up a couple things. We'll readjust, we'll retighten, we'll readjust, we'll retighten. That's basically the name of the game as far as I'm concerned with log furniture. You know, there is no exact to the letter, because you're not dealing with anything that's symmetrical, especially when you get into the forage stuff, which coincidentally, we're going to be having a little clip of that coming up for you. But this is really pretty much all together. Screws are in. It's a nice heavy duty frame. I'm not worried about this thing being tippy or tipping over. It's got a little rock to it right now, so that tells me it's a little racked. I can stand on it. What I'll end up doing tonight is I'll put a piece of material, something heavy up here I'll adjust so that nothing can re-lift and be real wobbly tomorrow. I will sit here, I will probably work this. I can tell you that if we put a tape down it, okay, I'm 23 and 5/8. I'm 23 and a half. 23 and 3/4. 23 and 5/8. Now I told you that all the log stock was going to vary. And we've got everything from 3 3/4 to 4 inch. So I'm going to say that this is fairly tight. We can do our centers. That looks like 28. That looks like 28 1/4. Again though, it's going to be hard to get this stuff exact because you're not dealing with symmetrical material. It isn't like you went down and you bought, you know, whatever that went through the sawmill and got planed. It is fence stock, it is log stock, it is rail stock, and we just try to manipulate the best that we can. So what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to box this tonight. I'm going to put something heavy. I don't want to keep working it. I want the frame to stay comfortable. I want the glue to dry tonight. I don't want to keep wiggling it and breaking the glue seams. So we're going to leave it. I got 1 or 2 small adjustments left, but that's truly it. All right, tomorrow we're going to work on getting our tops level, getting our boards mounted, and then by God, we're going to get our top on this thing. And hopefully we can start that and get the ball rolling on our top, get it painted, and get ready to get it poured, okay? All right, everybody, I'm not going to keep you. Everyone, please stay tuned. We got more to come, and we'll see you soon. All right, everyone. Bye-bye. So, good morning, everybody. All right. Well, we're back. Our frame dried last night. We put a big sheet of plywood on it. I put my big, heavy DeWalt planer, which is behind me, big 90-pound planer on top to take out some of the wobble, which I did. However, things did revert back, and we can see this front leg kind of bent in a little. The whole thing's kind of angled a bit like an A-frame, okay? I can live with this. Like I said, this project is for me. If you wanted to be a little more particular, what you could do is you could go in, loosen up all your screws, you could break the glue seams, and you could basically take out the hardware, you could reposition everything and start over. You may have to go in and sand out some of the old glue. It's a pain in the butt, but I did try my darndest to keep everything and hold everything last night, but wood will, unfortunately sometimes it will go the way that it wants and not the way you want it. Alright, well, what we're going to do this morning is this. I've got my boards that will ultimately fasten from the underside of the tabletop on to the top of our base. But what I've got to do is I've got to make sure that everything's level and I am out. I'm high here. I've got no wobble low on my board over here. I've got a lot of play. I've got to work these angles out, and I've got to get these 4 posts. We need to get everything level, side to side, corner to corner, the whole 9, or as close as I can. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video. We're going to get that done, and ultimately today, before the day is out, we're going to have our top fitted on this, ready to go, so that we can basically start painting our top, and we can set this aside. This has been sanded, everything's done to it, lest these tops need to be taken care of. So that's what we're going to do right now, alright? But please stay tuned, there's more to come, so we will be right back. Hey everybody, okay, we are back. I ended up, between my orbital and my belt sander, we were able to knock everything down. Everything's really looking really pretty good. I'm liking what I see. I got a bubble out in a couple spots, but it's not life or death here by any stretch. Okay, so currently what I've done, and I had told you earlier as well, we took the top of this, and which we're getting ready to set in a second. We took the top, we put a box inside with some 4-inch circles to kind of get an idea. Now, we have made a revision to this base since I did the layout in VCarve Pro. I ended up shortening the base. I had this set to be 20 by 28. 20 wide, 28 long. However, the tabletop's only 48 inches. I ended up keeping this like 2 by 2. I've got plenty of width. I didn't want to go any wider because I didn't want to have my ends sticking out too far. Granted, yes, I can cut these down. I wanted to have good stability, but the most important reason was the fact that once the lid is on, I want to have leg room under each end to sit, okay? I'm going to step out of the camera here for just a second. I'm going to grab the top, we're going to set it. Now granted, I'm just throwing it in place real quick. This is plenty big enough for 2 people to sit and dine at. It's more than large enough. My wife and I, we play a lot of cribbage in the winter. Hell, chances are I could have probably put a cribbage rim around it, but that's a little over the top for this job. Alright, but this is basically the build right here. We told you that there were going to be markups. We will have some stills to go with this. We'll include them in. As far as the measurements for the logs go, okay, those will also be in the still imagery. There is nothing to building this sort of stuff. The only thing I'll recommend though for your tops, this one's starting to cup a little, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of 2x6, I'm going to put it on the underside, and I'm going to screw it to hold it flat until I get it secured to the tabletop itself. To the table base, I'm sorry. Because I still got to put my rack up, and we've got to start the finishing process on this between sanding and airbrushing all of it, okay? And coincidentally, we are going to be painting it. So we've still got a decent chunk of work left to finish the top. But that's going to be for our Sunday evening blog this weekend, okay? So everyone, thank you again for your support as always. I appreciate my subscribers, my followers. We adore all of you up in this little shop to no end. So, stay tuned, there's more to come, and we'll see you Sunday for the Sunday evening blog. Alright everybody, bye-bye.